His voice wasn't supposed to return. Ty was gone, his story written in heartbreak, his absence carved deep into Amy's soul. But then there it was, soft, raw, familiar, a voice that cracked time open like lightning splitting the sky. Amy. Froze. The ranch went quiet, because when Ty spoke again, it wasn't just Amy who listened. Every single viewer held their breath. Asterisk, the premiere of Heartland Season 19 begins not with a bang, but with a whisper, one that reaches into the past and pulls at every broken thread of Amy's heart. The ranch looks the same. Life has moved forward. The horses graze, the sun paints the fields gold, and Amy carries on like she always has. But behind her steady walk, behind every smile she gives to Lindy, there's a shadow, a silence where Ty used to be. And it's in that silence that a sound returns. She finds the envelope in an old drawer. The handwriting on the front makes her chest tighten. For Amy, it says, "The edges are worn as if it waited years to be opened." She doesn't know what to expect. Maybe a letter, maybe just a line or two. But when she opens it, it's a voice recording. His voice, Ty's voice. And the moment she plays it, time stands still. It isn't a perfect sound. His words crackle like an old fire, soft and unsure. "Amy, if you're hearing this, I'm probably not there anymore." Her breath catches, her eyes flood, because it's him, it's truly him. His voice is lower than she remembers, almost shaky, but every word slices through the years and lands straight in her chest. "I didn't want to leave, not like that. Not ever." As the message plays, the camera stays close on Amy's face. No dramatic music. Just the sound of Ty speaking and Amy listening like nothing else in the world matters. She tries to hold herself together, but her lips tremble. A tear slips down her cheek. She presses her hand to her chest. It's as if his presence has filled the room again. For one long minute, she isn't alone. Back at the barn, Jack watches from a distance. He knows that look in Amy's eyes. He's seen it before years ago, when she first lost Ty, but this time it's different. This time it's like a part of him has come back, if only for a moment. Lou finds Amy standing still with the recorder in her hand, the message still playing. Lou doesn't say anything. She simply walks over and wraps her arms around her sister. They don't need words. Ty's message continues. "You were always stronger than you believed, Amy. You held me up. You gave me purpose. And if our daughter ever asks, tell her father loved her more than anything in the world." Amy finally breaks. She collapses into Lou's arms, the sound of Ty's voice playing softly between them. This isn't just a memory. It's a goodbye she never got. It's closure. And yet, it opens 1,000 more wounds. What makes this scene hit so hard is its simplicity. The show doesn't rush. It doesn't fill the space with dramatic effects or forced emotion. It lets the pain sit there. It lets Ty speak, and it trusts the audience to feel every word. For longtime fans of Heartland, this scene is more than just television. It's a reunion. One we never thought we'd get, but it also leaves us with a question. Where did this recording come from? When did he make it? And, why now? Because in Heartland, nothing is ever as simple as it seems. And if Ty's voice has returned, maybe just maybe his story isn't finished yet. Asterisk, she didn't cry right away. At first, Amy just stood there silent, pale, as if the sound of Ty's voice had frozen her in time. The wind outside the ranch doors moved gently, but inside, everything was still. It was the kind of stillness that only comes after a storm or just before one. Ty's words echoed in the small space. "I love you, Amy. I always have." And that was the moment her eyes gave up holding back the flood. Amy dropped to her knees, not from weakness, but from everything breaking at once. Years of being strong for Lindy, years of pretending she had moved on. All undone by a few sentences, spoken in a voice she never thought she'd hear again. It wasn't just pain, it was confusion, longing, love, and a fresh kind of heartbreak that only comes when the past knocks on your door and won't leave quietly. She sat there for hours, rewinding the message. Not just once, over and over. Her fingers trembled every time she pressed play. And each time she noticed something new in his voice. A hesitation, a shaky breath, a pause before he said her name, as if he too was afraid she'd hear it. And yet he had recorded it anyway for her. For the day she'd need it the most, later. Amy walked out into the field, barefoot, with the recorder still playing in her hand. Lindy ran toward her, giggling, unaware of the weight her mother carried. Amy smiled, but it was a hollow kind of smile, the kind you wear when the inside of you is cracking wide open. She knelt down, hugged Lindy tightly, and whispered, "That was your dad?" Lindy looked confused, then curious. "He's back?" Amy shook her head. "No, sweetie. But his words are." And somehow, that had to be enough. Back at the house, Jack sat in his chair, staring at an old photo of Ty. He didn't say a word when Amy entered, but his eyes told her he already knew. Lou came in moments later, her face full of worry. "What did it say?" she asked softly. Amy handed her the recorder. "Everything and nothing." She sat down, drained. It felt like a goodbye, but it also felt like a beginning. That night, Amy couldn't sleep. The stars above the ranch glowed brighter than usual, or maybe it only felt that way. She laid in bed, listening again to Ty's voice. It was like having him beside her, just for a few moments. And yet, every word made her ache more. She closed her eyes and whispered, "Why now, Ty? Why after all this time?" There was no answer, just the quiet hum of the night, and the sound of his voice playing softly one last time before the battery ran out. What this scene does so brilliantly is show grief in layers. Amy's reaction isn't loud, it's deep. Private, honest. There's no dramatic breakdown in public. No sudden declarations. Just the kind of hurt that builds up over years and only finds release in quiet moments alone. It's the type of pain every Heartland fan has felt since Ty left the show. And now, with this message, that pain becomes something shared. Amy's story isn't just about loss anymore. It's about what we do when the past refuses to stay buried. When the heart hears what it never thought it would again. This episode reminds us that in Heartland, healing doesn't come all at once. It comes in pieces, one tear, one memory, one voice message at a time. Asterisk, the message wasn't long. But it carried the weight of everything Ty never got to say. And somehow, those few words left behind like a forgotten seed were beginning to grow into something powerful. It wasn't just a voice recording. It was a map, a final gift, a legacy stitched together by love, pain, and purpose. The next day, Amy sat alone in the loft with the letter Ty had written along with the voice note. It was dated nearly a year before his passing, around the time he started writing more in his journals. He had written it in quiet moments when the world slowed down, and in it he had poured out his soul, not to explain what happened, but to make sure Amy and Lindy never forgot who he was and what he believed in. The letter said things he never said out loud. How scared he was to become a father, how Amy made him brave, how even in the end, when the pain got bad, it was her face that gave him strength. There was one line that Amy kept reading over and over. "If I could do it all again, I'd still choose you every time in every life." Lou read it too. Then Jack, and suddenly Ty wasn't just in the past. He was in the room again. In the way Amy held the reins while riding. In the way Jack looked out over the land in silence. In the way Lindy hugged her horse and whispered, "Thank you, Daddy." But the letter also revealed something no one expected, a final request. Ty wrote, "Promise me you'll keep the clinic running. Don't let what we built end with me. The animals still need you, and so do the people." Amy had left the clinic for a while. It was too hard to return after losing him. The halls reminded her of his laugh, the way he held injured animals like they were the most important thing in the world. But now, she wasn't sure. Maybe this letter was more than a message. Maybe it was Ty's way of pulling her back to who she really was. As she stared out across the fields, Amy realized something else. Ty's legacy wasn't just about memory, it was about motion. Moving forward, living fully. Choosing love again even. In a world that had taken him away, and maybe, just maybe, that was what he wanted most for her. Heartland has always been about the unspoken things. The silences between words, the emotions hidden in a look. And this episode honors that perfectly. Ty doesn't appear in person, but his presence is everywhere, in every tear Amy sheds, in every decision she now faces, in every breath she takes. After reading his words, fans may have lost Ty from the screen, but this premiere reminds us why we can never really lose someone we truly love. They stay, in the soil, in the stars. And in the pages they leave behind, Ty's letter is more than just a goodbye. It's a promise, a bridge between past and future, a quiet nudge telling Amy and all of us watching that the story isn't over. It's just changing shape. And now, with this new purpose, Amy must decide. Will she follow the path he hoped for her? Or will the weight of his memory hold her back? Asterisk, the hardest part about hearing Ty's voice again wasn't the pain, it was the question it left behind. What now? After so many years of surviving without him, Amy suddenly found herself standing at a crossroads she never asked for. One road led back into the past, into the comfort of memory and grief. The other pointed toward an uncertain future. One Ty had quietly carved out for her through his final words. Amy didn't speak much in the days that followed the message. She moved differently, slower, like someone carrying something invisible. Jack noticed. So did Lou. Even Lindy seemed to sense that something had shifted. It was as if Ty had reopened a part of Amy she'd buried just to survive her hope. She walked to the barn early one morning and stood where she and Ty used to brush the horses together. She touched the wooden post where his initials were still carved beside hers. Then, for the first time in years, she picked up a brush and called over a horse, not because she had to, but because it's what Ty would have done. That day Amy rode. Again, not just for fun, but with purpose. She visited the clinic and walked through its dusty halls. Memories flooded in like sunlight through broken windows. Every stall held a ghost, but she wasn't afraid. Ty's letter echoed in her mind. The animals still need you. By sunset, she was holding the clinic's ledger in her hand. Let's start over, she whispered. But Heartland isn't only about animals and healing. It's about the people we build around us. And Amy's world is beginning to shift again. Katie is growing up. Lou is handling more responsibility. Even Georgie's return is on the horizon. They're all watching Amy now, not to see if she break, but to see if she rise. Still, there's one more twist. As Amy prepares to reopen the clinic, a stranger arrives at the ranch. He claims to have worked with Ty in his final months. He carries a box filled with notes, photos, and something else, a flash drive labeled for Amy, if I couldn't say it all. Amy's hands shake as she holds it. Could there be more? More words, more pieces of Ty's heart she never knew about? She doesn't open it right away. She walks out into the field, where the sky stretches wide and endless. She breathes deeply, and looks toward the clouds like she used to when she missed him most. This isn't closure. Not fully. This is something better. It's continuation. It's growth. It's the story of a woman who loved deeply, lost painfully, and still found the courage to live forward. Heartland's Season 19 premiere isn't about undoing the past. It's about honoring it and choosing to move forward with the pieces left behind. Ty's voice may have broken hearts, but it also lit a new fire. And Amy, stronger than ever, is ready to carry it. She may still cry, she may still hurt, but she's not stuck anymore. Because Ty didn't just say goodbye, he gave her a beginning. And now, as the season unfolds, fans everywhere will be asking one question: what will Amy do? Now that she has one last message of love and a whole new path to follow? Asterisk, the episode ends the way it began, not with noise, but with feeling. As Amy stands alone by the river, the same place where she and Ty once dreamed of building a cabin, she finally presses play on the flash drive. She expects a few words, maybe another goodbye, but what she hears stops her heart. Ty's voice, calm but emotional, begins again. If you're hearing this, then I couldn't come back. I'm sorry, Amy. I wanted more time. I wanted more mornings with you, more stories with Lindy, more quiet rides. But life didn't give us that, so I'm giving you this. His message isn't about loss, it's about what comes next. He talks about forgiveness, not just of others, but of herself. About second chances, about finding joy even when your heart still aches. He urges her to live fully. To love again, not because he's replaceable, but because her heart is too big to be left empty. And just when Amy thinks she's heard it all, Ty says one last line that breaks her all over again. You saved me, Amy, in every way. Now, save yourself. Tears fall freely. But Amy doesn't look broken anymore. She looks brave. Something in her shifts, not the pain, but how she carries it. She walks back to the house with her head high and the flash drive clutched to her chest. From a distance, Jack watches. He doesn't ask what Ty said. He doesn't need to. The way Amy smiles, tired, soft, and full of quiet power, says it all. A chapter has closed, but the book is far from finished. Back inside, Lindy shows Amy a drawing. It's of their family, Amy, Lindy, and Ty. Is Daddy still with us? She asks. Amy kneels beside her and nods. Always. In here, she says, placing her hand on Lindy's heart. And in everything we do? The screen fades to black with no grand music, no dramatic twist. Just the sound of hooves in the distance, wind brushing through tall grass, and Ty's final whisper, "Keep writing." That's how Heartland Season 19, Episode 1 ends. A soft return, a powerful message, and a promise that even in loss, love keeps growing. Ty may never return in body, but his presence, his spirit, and his words will shape the entire season. And for fans, it's more than just an episode. It's healing. It's hope. And it's the beginning of something beautiful.